Welcome back to Markonomics 101 presents Hoot Loot, the place you can come for accurate, truthful, informative information on the financial needs you may have. Unfortunately, you're not going to get them anywhere else, so be amused, be informed, but never be misled. Not here, not ever. We're going to talk today a little bit more about the Reddit situation and the rebels and the short squeeze and all that. If you watched last week's show, you're going to understand this week's show a lot better. If you didn't, why don't you go back and tune into last week's show where we actually lead into this week's show. But I'm going to tell you a little bit about how what was predicted last week did indeed happen and why it had to be that way. And so you'll learn if you participate in those kinds of things, why they work briefly but not permanently, and the ending always is bad, but we still salute you anyway. So today's show is called Rebel Reddits finally facing their Waterloo, just like the ABBA song. They're finally facing their Waterloo, but boy, we salute you, and we'll be back to show you the charts. Well, welcome back, everybody, to Hoot Loot, where you will be informed, be amused, but never be misled. Could you please, if you would, we would love to have you right there, hit the subscribe and like button, and let us know what you think. We've gotten lots of fan mail, and one show, maybe next week, we'll go through it. And boy, the comments, you should see those. But let's start out with the charts. This is GameStop. You wouldn't think that another company existed on planet Earth but GameStop. And I guess to some millennials who buy video games and sit at home in their basements, maybe it is the only company worthwhile. But it's really a rinky-dink company. But nonetheless, I put up a chart here of 1 hour intervals, very, very short time. And look at the swings. See, that's why you want to stay out of this thing, unless it was brilliant down in, say 40, 50, something like that, where, if you sort of set it up so that you wouldn't lose too much, you can do that. But the point is, once it started to cross around 200, or 100 even, you're in no man's land, okay? The company is not worth that, and it will ultimately go to where it's worth. That's the problem. It will go to it ultimately. So if you're still long GameStop at 90, you might be thinking, well, it's come down all the way from 480, but you know what? It also could go to zero. And you have to take that into account here. And it's probably going to go to zero. And that's why the people shorted it in the first place. These are not dummies who shorted it. You outfoxed them. Congratulations. You did a great job. I salute you. But don't do it and become martyrs. That's all I'm saying. Just stay solvent. You can do it again. And I'm going to show a lot more charts today where you had an impact that was really, truly historic. All right, so let's go on to the next chart. And that, of course, is the Dow. We always start with the Dow. Now, the indexes are turning. It may not look like it, obviously, but they are acting like it. And the Dow has already turned, as far as I can tell. It's broken through that rising bearish ascending pennant channel. And that's the thing, is that they're just starting to all curl over. And this is what happens in a market top, okay? First of all, you get things like GameStop, which everybody focuses on, just like a illusionist in Las Vegas. Look over there! That's what they try to do. So you're looking at GameStop. Meanwhile, most of your holdings and things like, Johnson & Johnson are going down and you don't even notice. So that's how the Mr. Market, the ultimate con man, works, okay? Look over here while he takes money from you over there, okay? But then he'll look over there and he'll have taken money from you in both places. That's how he works, and that's what I want you to understand, is because you don't have to lose thousands of dollars to get that. You just have to see it happen. All right, now, so let's go on to the next one. Swoosh, NASDAQ 100. Okay, this chart has stayed relatively bullish. However, if you look at some of the companies, they're not looking too good. Some are. Again, careful. You cannot buy low and sell high here. You cannot. S&P small cap index is a real risk to a lot of people. And the reason why is that little rounded top in red that you see. See, that's forming what's called an island top. And the reason an island top, now I'm not talking about the Elton John song, Island Girl, Island Girl. No, not that one. This is an island top. Okay, we're talking about charts now, not music. Okay, so get that straight. Now, if you see an island top, everyone that's bought in the island top, if the thing gaps, and it very easily could gap on news, it might end up gapping, say, 50 points or something like that. Guess what? All trapped at a loss. What are they going to do next? They're either going to sell and cut their losses, maybe if they're smart, or they wait for it to rally someday up to the island top, at which point it becomes resistance because a lot of people have sat there and are dying to sell right there. So by forming that, you've really made this pattern look really bad. And that's why I wanted to emphasize that, because sometimes you actually see it in real life happen. Oops, I had a little technical difficulty there, but there we go. So this is the S&P 500. Now you notice it also broke down because it has a lot of those big cap stocks in there, especially banks that broke down the Dow. Now that's the thing. The banking sector is what the Dow is heavy in, and that broke it down. The tech sector is heavy in the NASDAQ. That didn't break down yet, though it looks like it's going to. We'll show you why in a minute, but it's not really the point. The point is it will, and just be patient. There's going to be a pretty good opportunity. Okay, so let's look at the trannies one more time. This is a Dow Jones Transportation Average. We pointed out for weeks that this has had a 7-point reverse wave. Well, it does, and it broke down, and it is now going in the wrong direction. So if transportation, which moves all the goods around the economy, is now starting to not look good, I would then start to wonder about the economy itself. And I do, and we've been talking about that for weeks now. So, what we'll try to do as weeks go on is tell you how to defend yourself against this. And one of them is going to be by realizing what's going on first. I mean, first you got to realize that we are not in this major recovery and that, all is bright out there. I mean, there are pockets of brightness. The U.S. economy is very resilient. The people are resilient. I mean, look at what a bunch of little traders did to a bunch of big swinging you-know-whats just using their sharpness. So, the economy will come back, but it's going to be a lot rougher than is popularly believed, is really what I'm trying to say here. So let's keep going. And this is one of the reasons why. This is the Commodity Research Bureau. This is a CRB index of commodities. This is basically a measure of producer prices or wholesale prices or input prices. This is what the manufacturers pay. So in other words, this thing has gone up so fast, it's actually going up parabolically. Excuse me. Parabolically. And so the thing is, you don't see this kind of price action. This is somewhat worrisome. Okay? This is worrisome because if you have the economy turning down with prices turning up, you have what's called stagflation, which is terrible in and of itself. But then what you get is a bunch of dollars floating around chasing fewer goods. So of course the price of everything goes up. And this is just not a healthy sign. So keep an eye on it. Actually, we will for you. And so just keep tuning in and you'll know exactly what's going on. All right. Crude oil, that's the reason right there. Why are you paying more at the pumps when you're driving less? That's why. For some reason, crude oil is going up. So, crude oil is pretty much an input in just about everything. From Ace's dog food, unfortunately, to, everything. So when crude oil goes up, it starts filtering its way through the economy, just like it did on the other way, on the downside in the crash. Prices were held by crude oil coming down. Now it's going to be the opposite, except it's going to be much longer lasting and much more severe. And it's going to be really profound by the time it actually takes root. It's already taken root. The problem is you don't know how fast this is going to grow. And it's impossible to predict. It just will grow. We just don't know when. And by when, I mean within the next year, when, not like 20 years down the road. In any event, unleaded gasoline, here you go. This one just leading the charge. We've talked about interest rates going up before. There's a 30-year treasury. It's now crossed 1.8 on its way to, 2, 3, 4. Now, if you think it's strange how they had to unwind GameStop when the stock was so short that basically you had some guy having to cover margin, some person having to put money in his account, some being bought in by the brokerage firm. Therefore, it is a totally unpredictable, pinball machine, basically. Well, same here. I mean, the 30-year Treasury is going to go up, and when they unwind negative interest rates in Europe, like right now, our interest rates are at least positive. Okay, if I lend you money, I get something back for it. Maybe not too much, but something. If you lend money to the German government, you know how they pay you back? They give you less and tell you to be happy. So when you unwind negative rates, I mean, I just can't fathom how it's possible that that is not going to cause some incredible disruption, but we shall see. Dow Jones REIT Index, this is real estate. Why would I put this on here? Because real estate is looking good. I keep hearing how, oh my God, there's a housing glut. No, there isn't. Real estate is going to appreciate. That's what this is telling you right here. So that's why I put it on. Okay, Apple, these are the big cap tech stocks. I put them on here. Mostly they look good. That's the interesting thing. Although Apple had like a blowout earnings report, it's right on its line. So this one has not gone up with good earnings. That's not a good sign. Amazon today reported, believe it or not. And look, it's come down a little bit. Reported last night, I'm sorry. It's come down a little bit. And I actually think I'd still rate it 50-50 based on the chart. But you can see this thing may be coming down. I don't know. I'm just saying, be aware that the market, is an iffy thing right now. Facebook, same thing. It reported earnings. It's still in that triangle. Who knows? Who knows? I know the 8 Ball will know, so maybe I should ask it. All right, which way is Amazon and Apple going to go? No, not Amazon. Amazon and Facebook going to go. Screw you. You suck. You're an idiot. Figures. I'm going to throw that thing. This is why Amazon goes down, because I bought this on Amazon. The fact checkers, if they just checked this instead of what I said, it would have said the right thing. Now it says, no one watches you anyway. All right, so let's go on. All right, Google has one of the best looking charts I've ever seen. And, look at that. It broke out on good earnings. It gapped up higher. The problem with Google is, it's a great company for making money. But the thing is, how on earth can you buy low and sell high here? You can't. You just have to wait for next time. 20 years from now. So, there's nothing to do here. Microsoft, same thing. Looks really good. Chart's good. No complaints. They have a practical monopoly, up in 666 Bellevue Road up in Washington, where their famous founder lives, Mr. Gates, who's been a blessing, but still looks pretty good to me. So we also have Qualcomm. Now, Qualcomm reported today, just a few minutes ago, actually. Qualcomm made the numbers and is down 15 points in after-hours trading. Why is that important? It's important because when a stock reports blowout earnings and it still can't go up, and in fact goes down by 10%, that means too many people have already bought in. Okay, in other words, all in. Once everybody's all in, who are you going to sell to? If you want to sell to somebody higher, you can't, because they're all in with you. So, but Qualcomm is doing pretty well. Tesla also doing well. Very common for a company like Tesla to have a parabolic curve like you see here, and then to break it, try to snap back to it. And you notice the volume. I'm going to put I guess you can't see it that way, but at the very bottom of the chart is volume. And notice the low level of volume. So it's rallying back just barely. No one cares. The market rallies back, but it just kind of climbs back up there on low volume. That's not, that's typically what we see. Now we're going to go back to you rebel people again, which reminds me of the David Bowie song, "Rebel, Rebel, you tore your dress." All right, I'm going to shut up now. Okay, so this is SLV, called the iShares Silver Trust. I'm not kidding you. They moved this thing. Now, there's a lot of silver in the world. A lot. Okay? It may not be in ample supply right now, but they moved this thing. And if you look at where the arrows are drawn, both of those cases were all Reddit Rebel moves. Huge. That's why I said to you guys, don't do this. I mean, it made an impact, but it's back down. It's going to go back down to equilibrium. And if you bought it above equilibrium, thinking that other people were going to walk in after you and continue to buy it, they're value buyers. And they didn't. And that's why when you do this, it makes a great statement, but it also, in this case, you're overplaying your hand a little bit because silver is a large market. So, oh shoot, let's go on here. Apple already did, so let's just move forward here. It's been a crummy day, so excuse the fact that I'm kind of grouchy too. Anyway, here we go. Tesla already did, shares. Okay, Yamana Gold, or as we say so in the hood, Yamana! See, the reason that I know the Reddit people were behind it, even though it's obvious, and I'm sure they'd be very proud of themselves and they'd glad they admit it. Notice this thing didn't go up anywhere. This is a junior gold miner. It just kind of languishes. Right now, precious metals, as much as I have loved them, and as much as I think everyone should own at least a little, right now, they're not ready. And they're not ready yet. And the Reddit guys, the rebels, they really pushed them around, but really didn't do much that I think is going to have a permanent effect other than the fact that you made their statement. And that really was what was the value of it. So core mining is one I owned and I've pumped so many times. And, this thing has cost me at least, 40, 50 grand because I bought on some of these quote unquote breakouts. Like, for example, the first one here where you see this breakout above the resistance line. Well, guess who was a buyer of it then? Me. And probably on this program telling you to buy with me because it was breaking out of a great looking pattern. So, you have to be careful about that because now this is very treacherous market to trade in. Barrick Gold, this is a big one. This one is going nowhere. So, of course, they were handling smaller ones, not larger ones. Hecla Mining. There's another one you guys did it to me. Jeez. Hecla Mining, look at that move. I would have bought out on that and got, this is a huge breakout move. No. All right, PZG, this is Paramount Gold. Look at that move right here. The one where they spike it all the way up to 160 and then it goes all the way back down. Well, if you're one of the people that bought at 150, okay, how do you feel right now? Are you happy with what you did? You got 2 seconds of fame and probably a year's worth of heartache. 2 seconds of pleasure and a year's worth of heartache. Okay, so you move the stock. You can't short a $1 stock. So buying this thing, thinking that you're driving short sellers out, that's not happening. You cannot short this thing. So anyway, broker dealer index, rally back again on low volume, but you don't see it here. This is a very important biotechnology index. It looks like it's making a rounded top. Isn't that interesting? It had a rounded bottom, now a rounded top. Big pharma, happy, always are. Big multinational oil, also starting to break down though. What it's saying is that even though the prices are going up, it's not really, something is not filtering through to the companies. And, this is very interesting to see this. So I'm just keeping an eye on it. Same with your oil drillers. These are sensitive stocks. So you want to make sure that you at least are aware of where they are because they give you a little clue about the stock market, the economy, and everything. Money center banks, again, an island reversal, a little bit of a snapback today. And again, this is about the most bearish graph I can find. And I really think that when you start looking at the financial system, it is looking really bad again. American Express credit card broke down. Berkshire Hathaway about to break down. I think Warren Buffett, he doesn't know what to do with his money. I don't blame him. He's not a short seller. He can only buy and sell. So he holds. Costco, just about to break down. That is a bad sign because it's a huge retailer. FedEx has broken down. Also not a good sign. You don't want transportation of goods and services to be going down, and they are. MasterCard, not looking great. We went over it the other day. Nordstrom's, this thing has gone from 12 to 40. That's great. We now have 4.5 retailers, so at least we don't have 4. But it's in a rounded top, so be careful about buying Nordstrom's here. You are buying at full retail plus. You're not buying at wholesale. Visa, not looking too good either. Again, if people aren't transacting, then the economy is not going up because retail is 70%. And Visa, MasterCard, and all these companies, they have a huge chunk of it. As is Walmart. And Walmart's not looking good. So, and finally, UPS, not finally, but UPS also not looking good. Still broken down, but, I wouldn't want to be buying that. And now we're going to talk about what really gets me high are the pot stocks. Now, These are stocks that are just, you look at these things and I don't know how you can not get totally greedy and want to buy into them. Be careful. That's all I got to say. When something's going straight up like this and you're thinking it can't possibly go down, that is just the time that you get your ass handed to you. I've had it happen to me so many times. I can assure you that right now, as they're exploding, unless you are a long-term buyer, you don't buy on explosions like this. You buy early, but not after the fact. They can reverse just as fast. As you see on this graph, look at all the times it's exploded only to go right back to where it came from. You don't know that that might not happen here. So you have to be very aware of that. This thing is telling you, please come buy me. Boy, it's going to sucker you in if it can. Afria also, look at that. I mean, you know, these are great charts and I've certainly pounded the table and the values are terrific. There'll be better times to get in. That's all I'm saying. Better times to get in. Don't chase and don't panic. Canopy, you know, I've gotten out of this one, great one. Long-term hold, fantastic. You know, that's all I got to say. Now, this one I haven't talked about much, but this one actually makes medicinal marijuana. It's called GW Pharmaceuticals. Look at that breakout and look at the volume. That's a breakout. That's a breakout. This thing's going up. Tilray's my favorite. Look at the volume. And here's Tilray on one rate. I don't own it, by the way, anymore. I sold early. Oh, darn. Take your money off the table before the table takes your money off of you. You can never have a bad day taking a profit unless you look at this and you go, oh my God, I should have held on to it. I should have never sold it, blah, blah, blah. I've heard that so many times. And you know what? If I were to say that and be holding on to it, the next minute, open up at 17, and I should have sold it. You know, you have to keep your emotions in check. It's so important. All right. And finally, this is my pledge, or this is my plaque to the Reddit Rebels. Why? Because not only were you able to move stocks and silver, you moved an entire ETF. GameStop by itself distorted this thing and turned it into a parabola. My God, that I think you should frame. And if you don't, I will. Maybe we'll make some signed frame copies for you Reddit Rebels. But I'd like to mention this. We love you folks and are going to do this. If we can't get you to subscribe based on the quality of the information, I'm going to bribe you. All right? So anyone that subscribes by February, at the end of February, is going to get a $200 award. Okay? Anyone, that's even me, and I'm going to win. Well, maybe not. But, and we're going to do that every month for the rest of the year. All right? Until we go past the magic number of 1,000. Or maybe we'll do it forever. I don't know. All I know is this. You will never go wrong with the truth. Be informed. Be amused. Never be misled. Markonomics 101. Hoot Loot. February 3rd. Can't wait to see you next time.